The Broncos score 24 unanswered points to come from behind and get their first win of the season. The Broncos postgame show starts right now. Hello, welcome into the studio. I am Phil Milani alongside Nick Ferguson. The Broncos get a big win on the road against the Chicago Bears, 31-28, the final. Nick, it felt like in the first half, here we go again, oh no, but then they flipped the script.
Yeah, it was here we go again for the Broncos as we saw the same things that we've seen all season long, but that's all water under the bridge, Phil, because the team found a way to keep Russell Wilson upright. And what he was able to do was silence a lot of the critics. If you give Russell time, he's going to find open receivers, but great team win overall. I'm happy for the organization.
Yeah, Russ was cooking in that second half. We'll talk about what this win could do for the Broncos moving forward here in just a second. But first, let's show you the highlights. What a wild one there at Soldier Field. The Broncos started out hot after a defensive stop. Jaleel McLaughlin takes the screen 18 yards, makes a nice little move there, his second touchdown of the year. Broncos up 7-0, but Justin Fields was just on fire in the first half. He was 16 of 17 for 231 and 3 touchdowns. The Bears were up 21-7 after the break. The Bears scored first in the second half too, but then Russell Wilson trying to get the Broncos back in this one. He finds Brandon Johnson, Johnson's third touchdown. The Broncos are down 14, but you can kind of feel momentum changing here. Next possession, Russ finds Cortland Sutton, and all of a sudden it's 28-21. Fields had been sensational all game long, but Nick Bonito really stepping up. Jonathan Cooper, shout out to our intern John here. He says, Coopin score. You like it? You like it, Nick? I know you do. Yeah. Fields and Cooper were teammates at Ohio State, but this one all Cooper. And the game is tied at 28. The Bears back in field goal range, but they decide to go for 4th and 1. Alex Singleton and Zach Allen there for the big stop. Sensing blood in the water, Russ goes deep on the very first play. 48 yards to Marvin Mims Jr. Sets up this 51-yarder for Will Lutz. It was bending a little, but it goes right through there. 51-yard field goal. The Broncos take the lead. Last chance for the Bears, and Kareem Jackson is there. He seals the deal. The Broncos pick up their first win of the season, first win of the Sean Payton era. 31-28 the final. Let's go out to Soldier Field in Chicago and check in with our reporters, Sydney Jones and Eric Dalal.
Thanks, Phil. I mean, what a turn of events here in Chicago, Eric. You know, after being down 28-7 in the third quarter, the Broncos made it back, tied the game, and then scored a field goal. Eric, what sparked the change of events here?
Yeah, I mean, I think they just started playing complementary football, right? Yeah. And whenever you come back from that many points down, that's what you've got to do. Yeah. It was the biggest comeback since that game against the Chargers in 2020. And you saw the Broncos score touchdowns on consecutive possessions in the third quarter. The defense gets a big stop to give them the ball back, and that really got things going. Obviously, you still needed a big play in the form of that Jonathan Cooper touchdown, but they just started playing better football, got some stops on defense, and ended up with a win.
Yeah, Eric, you mentioned that Jonathan Cooper touchdown. We really saw that change the momentum on defense here. Like you mentioned, got a few big stops from them. What did you like from that unit after that? Yeah,
the pass rush got things going a little bit. Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper, those guys came to play today. That, you talk about the offense building some momentum, but it was that touchdown that really, ties the game. Right. It puts you right in it. And they wouldn't have won this football game without the pass rush playing the way they did. I mean, Justin Fields, he had a great game. He completed a lot of passes, particularly in the first half, obviously. But Broncos made big plays when they needed to.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have won this football game without Russell Wilson either. Put up some good numbers today. What did you see from him?
Yeah, Russ was good. Great, that was the Russell Wilson you want to see, particularly on one of those drives, 3 third-down conversions. Then obviously on the go-ahead field goal drive, finds Marvin Mims for a big game. I mean, Russell Wilson, you saw him. He was fired up after one of those touchdowns. That's what you want from one of your captains, from your franchise quarterback. Russell Wilson had a really nice day, and you're right. You don't win the game if Russell Wilson doesn't play like that.
Right. Well, we'll head into the locker room in a few minutes to catch up with some players. Until then, Phil, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you very much, guys. We're back here in studio. Phil Milani alongside Nick Ferguson. Nick, was this the kind of win the Broncos needed to just change the tide, get that get things just going in the right direction now.
Yes, it was. And usually it is a phrase that is said in NFL, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. In this case, the Broncos offense or the team as a whole was able to put some oil on those squeaky gears. And yeah, it does. This is the type of win that kind of gets you back on track. I know most people will say, well, it was against the Bears and you should have done it against the Bears. The idea is that you can't pick and choose who you play on your schedule, but think about what we saw at the very beginning. This team was down, I think it was 28-7. 28-7, usually teams find a way to collapse and implode, but this is not what we saw from the Denver Broncos team. And this is why I'm a little more optimistic than other people, because you're down really big and you find a way to claw your way back into the game, because when it was 28-7, it was 4 minutes and 11 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Sometimes teams, bad teams, and I told you this before, they find ways to lose. This was an opportunity for the Broncos to do something different and show that they're steering the boat in a different direction, and being able to come back from 21 points definitely is a confidence booster.
Well, a lot of people are going to bring up like 2012. The Broncos go out to San Diego. Peyton Manning, they get a hot second half, and then they rattle off all these wins. That's an easy comparison there. But for this Broncos team, it does feel like maybe this could be like a rallying point. Like, hey, we came together and got this done.
This could be, when we look back on it, the actual win on the road that got us back on track. And sometimes, Phil, that's all you need. You need one game to start a winning streak. And right now, the Broncos have a one-game winning streak.
Yeah, and build that confidence and just, see what this could lead to. It's the first win of the Sean Payton era, though. Let's hear from the Broncos head coach after the game.
Yeah, I told the players afterwards, honestly, I said, look, there's a lot of things that we're going to have to clean up, and we're still not doing well. But the one thing that I was proud of is, they hung in there, they fought in when it would have been real easy not to. So we came up with enough plays in the end, but we're going to have to play a lot better if we think we want to win more games this season. So.
All right, that's Broncos head coach Sean Payton at the podium. Let's talk about the offense a little bit, because they had just the 7 points in the first half, but then they started cooking with fire a little bit in that second half.
Yeah, you can see that things changed a little for the Broncos offensively, played with a little more tempo. Once again, Russ was able to distribute the ball to different wide receivers. We can't say that was the same in games previously, but I still like what they were able to do. Javonte went out with a hip injury, but hey, man, the guy sitting on the sideline, he's an all-star, and that's Jaleel McLaughlin. Found a way to get him into the game, and you saw the speed and the burst. But this is, you moving forward, an opportunity to get more guys involved. So maybe you see McLaughlin a little more, maybe you see Mims a little more. But for the first time this season, the team was able to put things together on all three phases of the game to allow them to get this victory on the road.
Yeah, everybody was eating. I mean, Jerry Jeudy had a couple of big plays. Cortland Sutton had a touchdown. Brandon Johnson had a touchdown. Mims a big play. McLaughlin had a touchdown. I think the whole team kind of comes together that way. And what is it about the pace and the way things were going in the second half? Because you could just tell, like, the tempo was just such in the Broncos' favor.
Yeah, that's the one thing you want to do, especially when you're on the road, Phil. You want to establish tempo, because this is something that the guys practice every single day. And when you're moving at a high rate of speed, get a play, get another play in, what I call that NASCAR series, it actually helps off your offensive line. Once again, a group who had their issues with the false start penalty, and it just seemed like every guy across the offensive line decided, you know what? Today is going to be my day. But when you do and when you're able to run with that tempo, it really changes things for them. It also makes things really difficult for the defensive linemen. They're trying to pick up on the quarterback's cadence. It makes it difficult to do that, and now your offensive line can take advantage of that.
Yeah, they really got things rolling. Russ was 21 of 28, 223 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Yeah. Nick, no interceptions, too, so a nice day for Russell Wilson out there. Here's what he had to say after the game.
It was huge for us. We were all in this thing together. It was a we thing, and everybody just believed. It was a beautiful demonstration of resilience, beautiful demonstration of just not giving up and not giving in. We've been talking about just a season is a journey, and it's a 17-round, fight, and each fight, each round matters, each one of them, and I think that we really stepped up to the plate. We talked about what winning sounds like, at halftime. What mentioned the guys that we got to have great language on the sideline in the second half. We got to have great belief. Everybody's got to be up, and just the guys did an amazing job.
We're back here at the desk alongside Nick Ferguson. Let's talk about the defense a little bit, Nick. It seemed like here we go again, the 28 points in a row, but then all of a sudden, what changed, Nick? I mean, they stopped.
Well, here's what changed for the defense. Everyone's looking at us, and things look a little touch and go in that first half, but you know what? The defense stood up when they needed to stand up, and sometimes that's what you need to do. But I can't mention the defense without mentioning two players, Nick Bonitto and Jonathan Cooper. These two guys were extraordinary. The one thing we know that he has improved being a guy that can play both the run and the pass, and the energy he's bringing off the edge, man, it makes it really difficult on those opposing tackles. So those guys were an intricate part. And Kareem Jackson, man, after last week's game in Miami, what a bounce back game for him to make the game-saving, game-winning interception. And you can see that Justin Fields was trying to go back to the well too many times with Cole Kmet. And talk about being Johnny on the spot. And that's exactly what Kareem Jackson was. So big win for the Broncos today.
Yeah, I mean, they showed some heart. They had the fourth down stop, Alex Singleton, Zach Allen in there. Obviously, the Cooper score, Coopin score, the Coopin score.
The Coopin score, yes.
And the defense did that all without Josie Jewell. Justin Simmons wasn't in there, Mike Purcell, Frank Clark.
Yeah.
It was the young guys all coming together.
Well, you know what? I don't want to play Debbie Downer in this particular movie. There's still things that the Broncos need to do defensively. But, yes, you saw a lot of guys stepping up and making plays. And the way that I look at it, Phil, the more that you can get these young guys making plays, it's going to pay dividends down the road because that experience is there. But I'll say this, life is much better defensively when Justin Simmons is on the field.
Yes, that is true. We'll talk about some stuff they got to clean up in just a second here. But let's go into a celebratory Broncos locker room. Check in with Sidney Jones.
Thanks, Phil. We're here with outside linebacker Jonathan Cooper. Coop, just to start off, how's it feel? First win of the season.
Oh, man, it feels amazing. It feels amazing. It's been a long time coming. It's been tough. Obviously, we had a tough start out, tough stretch. So to get this first win and the way we did it, too, I mean, it just means everything.
First career touchdown for you. Can you walk me through that play?
Oh, man. All I'm thinking is, let's get there. Let's get off. So as soon as I took off, I see Nick got there first. He hit the ball. At first, I thought it was going to be incomplete pass. And as soon as I scoop it, I see Nick go. And I just take off, try to run, make sure I didn't get caught by Justin Fields, man.
How did you see that kind of shift the momentum for the defense after that? I mean, some big stops in the final 3 minutes.
That's what you always fight for, that momentum swing. And that was a huge one for us. Finally got, we needed a touchdown. I was saying on the sideline the whole entire game, we need to score. The defense needs to score. We need to create something to help our offense going, to turn this thing around. And that's what happened. So I couldn't picture it any better.
I mean, this team didn't give up hope. What kind of changed here in the locker room following this game?
It's awesome. I was telling everybody we just got to ride this momentum, ride this wave. We can't let this die down. Even though it feels amazing to win, we got to keep firing, keep looking ahead. Get back on the film. There's a lot of things we can clean up. Obviously, our start was slow and everything, but when we go back and clean that up and just continue on this way that we're going, continue the fight that we're doing, I think it's going to be a really good year.
Well, Coop, congrats on the win. Thanks for talking to me today.
Appreciate you.
Phil, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you very much, Sidney. Back here at the desk, it's easier to talk about things that need to be cleaned up after a win, Nick. This Broncos team still working through some stuff, though.
Yeah, they're still working through some stuff, but they need to work through it before they get to Kansas City. And here's what I mean. When you look at the number of false start penalties that are stalling drives, those are drive killers for this offense. Every time it seems like they try to take 5 steps forward, they take 15 steps backwards. Those are things that they definitely need to clean up. And you can see Mike McGlinchey knew that he made a couple of mistakes and he was going to be very difficult and hard on himself. But once again, time to reflect, move on past it, and get better. Now, let's move over to the defensive side of the ball. It's about communicating, knowing what the defense is before the ball is ever snapped. Looking at the offense, saying, well, which guys on the offense can hurt me first, and then communicating that throughout the entire offense, and then making plays. For the first time this season, I'll say that we saw the defense make impactful plays. We saw the Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper were on the play together. Jonathan Cooper, what is it? It's not the scoop. It's
the coop and score.
Oh, it's the coop and score. We saw that big play, and then we saw the interception at the end of the game, and still a game for the Broncos. You need to see that more. More possessions for this offense, that means more points. And they're showing, whether they're playing from behind, they can put points on the board against anyone in this league.
Yeah, that was a second and third turnovers of the season for the Broncos defense.
Yeah.
So second interception on the year for Kareem Jackson. So you love seeing plays like that for sure, Nick. Let's go back into the locker room again and check in with Sidney Jones.
Thanks, Phil. We're here inside the locker room with wide receiver Cortland Sutton. Cortland, first off, first win of the season. How's it feel?
It's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, win is always the best, but, to be able to go out there and watch the resiliency of this team and the fight, it was amazing.
What do you feel like changed for this team out there today?
I think that the way the season started was, unfortunate, but I think that it was something that, sparked guys, and, the week of work that we put in was amazing. To be able to, watch everybody work their butts off, and understanding that this was a must-have, a must-win, and, to watch all the work go into it and then come into the game and things not go the way we wanted to go, similar to the season, and then watching guys fight and, battle to the very end, and then us being able to come out victorious. Yeah, I think it just shows the character that we have in this locker room.
You guys were down 28-7 in the third quarter. What kind of sparked the change in offense there?
We just kept telling ourselves, you watch that our first touchdown. It's very similar to our first scores in most of the other games. We're clicking on all bases, converting on third down, dropping the ball down the field, and then scoring in the red zone. And we tell ourselves all the time, if we just do that and don't hurt ourselves, we can have as much success as we want to. And I think we were able to see that. Those are our drives that we went out and scored on. In the second half, it was similar to the first drive. We were able to stay on the field, convert on third down, and then score in the red zone, and then turn the ball over.
Last one for you, Court. Russell Wilson, he put up some really big numbers today, had some great plays. What did you see from him? What impressed you about his performance?
Man, he was Russ. I think that I say it all the time. I feel like a broken record whenever people ask me about him, but the guy is who he is. He works his butt off. He's a competitor. He wants to win, and he was out there making the plays and making sure that we were all, understanding that we still got a chance. We're still in this game, and watching him battle and watching him, do what he always does. Having the character and the heart that he has. It's amazing and it's contagious, and you can see it bleeding out into the rest of the team. We go down and score and get 14 points, and he comes to the sideline. It's like they know we're coming back. They know we're coming back, and to hear that, I'm pretty sure everybody on the sideline, they believed it, but to have our quarterback, our guy, come to the sideline and let it be known, still down 14 points, that we're in this. We still got a chance. I think it really sparked something for all of us, and I just love 3, man. He's great people, man. That's my dog.
Court, appreciate your time. Congrats on the win.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Phil, I'll send it back to you.
Thank you very much, Sydney. Time to wrap up the show here. Nick, it feels good to have a win, but still 24-hour rule. But maybe not for this one. Maybe it feels like you should keep it going a little, huh?
Well, no 24-hour rule for this team, more like 48 hours.
Okay.
It's been a long time since the Broncos had a victory. Celebrated for 48 hours, you earned it, and after that, time to turn the page. And you got to deal with that pesky group out there from New Jersey, and that would be the New York Jets. So, after you celebrate 48 hours, now it's time to get prepared for the Jets.
This was the first Broncos win on the road inside the United States since they beat the Dallas Cowboys a couple of years ago. So I imagine it's going to be a very happy plane ride coming back, a very celebratory atmosphere, Nick. And today it's a 31-28 victory in Chicago. That is going to do it for us. For Nick Ferguson, I am Phil Milani. This has been the Broncos Postgame Show.